Oh, wait.
And what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of That Just Happened, presented by Crossbones MMA and CrossbonesMMA.com and the Crossbones MMA Radio Network and everything Crossbones MMA that has to do it. I'm your host, Nick, and today we don't have Eddie Law with us. He's decided to take a leave of absence, so I'm taking over. I'm the captain of this ship. And today I have my boy, Michael David Reyes, Big Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Not much, man. Just here chilling, man.
Yeah. So he's saying that the Warriors will take it in 6. I'm saying that they'll take it in 7. I think it's going to be a crazy ass series, but that's not the sports that we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about MMA. But first, to get you guys a little introduction into Mike. Mike, so you and me have been friends for a couple years now. We met at an old job that we used to work at. Mm-hmm. How did you get into MMA? Like, what was your introduction or anything like that?
Well, I haven't I've seen MMA in the past. Like, I really got into it more. It was like when I met you, and then you told me what you like, and then I started watching it more. Started getting into it more, watching these fights and seeing how, just like paying attention, close attention to them, more or less. But I love MMA now. It's really good. I like it. It's just something is interesting to watch, because anything could happen in MMA at any point in time. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing I like about it too. Like, anything can happen. You can be losing the fight for almost 5 rounds, in the last split second you can knock the person out and win the fight. And
we saw that in that last pay-per-view too.
Exactly. And shout out to Mr. Andrew Reed, who already tweeted me, captain. Yes, I am the captain of the boat now, of this ship. It's mine. But anyway, so today we're going to be talking about an old Strikeforce event. It was the last Strikeforce event that I actually ever watched live. It was Gina Carano versus Chris Cyborg. Gina Conviction Carano. She was the introduction to women's MMA for me personally. Not Ronda Rousey. That's the kids nowadays. But Gina Carano was the introduction to me. But we're going to get right into the card. We're just going to talk about the main event, or the main card. We're not going to get into the prelims, but the first card on the event was Fabricio Verdum versus Mike Kyle. It was very entertaining fight, in my opinion. Verdum, who is now the interim heavyweight champion of the world, who's going to be facing Cain Velasquez this next pay-per-view, facing Mike Kyle, who was in his prime at the time. He was going to be that guy, and he ended up getting knocked out by Verdum. Verdum ended up winning by submission by guillotine choke in 1 minute and 24 seconds of the first round. Verdum came out not messing around. He did get caught in the first round. In my opinion, he did get caught and shaken, but he ended up taking Mike Kyle down and getting the guillotine choke. But Mike, what did you think about this fight?
Honestly, while I was watching it, at the beginning, Fabricio Verdum looked kind of shaky at the beginning. They came out both pretty strong, and I don't know if you can tell, at the beginning, Verdum did get caught a little bit with a good hook, the good right hook, but he recovered from it real quick, and they went straight to the ground. Like, I was like, oh shit. It was a good fight though. The speed of it was real good. Interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah. And like how Verdum is now, he's like the top of the weight. He's top of the division besides Cain Velasquez. He's the interim champion. He's always relevant in the division. Back then, he was just growing as a fighter. Yes, he fought in Pride. Yes, he was wrecking people in Pride. But he was that guy in Strikeforce that was going for the title. He ended up taking 2 wins after this fight against Antonio Bigfoot Silva, and then against Fedor Emelianenko, when he was the guy that finished Fedor. No one was finished Fedor, and he ended up finishing Fedor, and then he lost Alistar over him. Mike Kyle, on the other hand, like I said, he was at the peak of his career. He was going to be hopefully that guy, the challenge for the title. He had knockout power like crazy, but he went on again to fight Jeremy Ferretig, and ended up losing not in Strikeforce, in XMA, and then he went up for a no contest, and we haven't seen him since. What was it? It was in the Abu Dhabi Warriors, March 26, 2015. So he is still relevant. He's still fighting. He's still in there. He's still trying to make a name for himself, just trying to get that paycheck. Maybe it's just something that he really does like to do. But in your overall opinion of the whole fight, Verdum, he's a monster. What do you? I kind of want to get your opinion on that. Him versus Cain Velasquez. You've seen Cain fight. Do you think he'll be able to beat Cain, or do you think Cain's too much of a monster?
Cain's a monster. He has power like mud, but I think Verdum's is gonna be quick. I think Verdum's quicker than Cain Velasquez going into that fight. I think he can get if he can get Cain on the ground. I think Verdum will win the fight straight up. That's all. If he gets Cain Velasquez on the ground, I don't think Cain can fuck with him. So, but Verdum, in my opinion, could win that fight. I feel like he could beat Cain Velasquez. It's just he can't not go toe to toe with Cain Velasquez. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's my opinion too. I think Cain Velasquez is going to wreck him if it's on the ground or if it's standing up, but on the ground, it's a different story. Verdum's that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's that champion. He's that guy who will wreck someone on the ground and end up getting submission, as we saw against his fight against Mike. But moving on to the next fight, Gilbert Melendez, El Nino, fighting in his hometown for the Strikeforce interim champion, defending his interim championship against Ishida. Now, this is a rematch from Gilbert Melendez's first ever loss in MMA. It was in Pride. Ishida just completely took him down, controlled him on the whole fight, kept taking him down, and picked Gilbert Melendez apart. And it was his first loss. But it was El Nino's time to get that redemption. And he is the top of the division that he was the interim champion, and he was wrecking people back in the day. What did you think about this fight?
In that fight, it was a good fight. It was like Melendez was very smart. He fought differently from when he first met him. Because in the beginning, he wasn't as aggressive. He was just finding his time. He was timing him, watching him. And if he did try to, what's his name? I can't say his name correctly. Ishida. There you go. If every time he would shoot at Melendez, he was ready for it. He stopped him on a good. He sprawled real good against him. He stopped him real quick on the takedowns. But it was an interesting fight. Melendez was very smart in that fight. Very smart. It's just he has good. He's good boxing. He's good at boxing. You can see that. Some power.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about him. He wasn't always trying to go take it to the ground. He was trying to do all around everything, but he was sticking out that jab. He was doing dirty boxing against the cage. He landed some dirty knees, elbows, uppercuts, everything through this fight, just trying to tire out Ishida. And every time he got against the cage, he would always just tuck under, grab his head in that Muay Thai clinch, and just get him in that knee. And even on the ground, when he ended up taking to the ground, he was kneeing him on the ground. He was going for a finish. He was always staying busy. And that's what he is nowadays. Gilbert Melendez, that guy, he's going to come at you with his chin tucked, his hands up, and he's going to start putting pressure on you. And Ishida was not ready for that. Ishida was probably, I'm going to go for a takedown. I'm going to control him on the ground again and get the W. And he was not ready for it.
No, he wasn't. He was actually hoping that Melendez was more aggressive going at him instead of the patience that Melendez was doing in that fight, I think. So, it was a good fight. I like on the ground. On the ground, he looked good every time. I think there was only one time he was on his back, maybe.
Yeah, one time, and then he got right back up.
Yeah, he got right back up off of it. So yeah, he played it smart that whole fight.
Yeah, and then El Nino did end up like we were talking about. He did end up taking the win in the third round, 3 minutes 56 seconds of the third round by TKO. Herb Dean just saw he had enough. He had him. Ishida was on his stomach, and he was just going to town. El Nino was just going to town, getting it, and Herb Dean had enough. Yeah,
he gave him a good gash in the second round though before they went into that third round. So he was already hurt. He was already hurting going into that third round, Ishida. Yeah. So. But I saw Melendez kept trying to put him in a hold every time, but he couldn't get it because she didn't know how to get out of that. Yeah, he was real smart on that. Yeah. But after that, he just had him. It was like gave him his back, and that was it.
Yeah, game over. Yeah. And what Ishida did after this one with Ishida, actually, El Nino went back up to the next person that actually had his second ever loss in his MMA career. Josh Thompson ended up getting a decision win over him. Then Aoki, he beat by decision. He just climbed up the ranks until he got into the UFC and fought Ben Henderson. Ended up losing to Ben Henderson, Then he got a win against Diego Sanchez, and now he just recently lost against Anthony Pettis that we saw. He is fighting Eddie Alvarez coming up in the next pay-per-view card. That's why I wanted to pick this card, because I like El Nino. He's a good fighter. He's always going to come out ready to fight. He has no excuses or anything like that.
Yeah, he's focused every fight. It was the fights that I've seen him fight. Very focused, ready to go.
Yeah,
ready to go.
And he's part of that scrap pack that he made of, and he fights he trains with Nick Diaz, both Diaz brothers and everything. So
yeah,
he's a legit fighter. He's a part of that scrap pack that I like, and he's always there. Like I said, always there, ready to fight.
Yeah, he was strong. He was strong in that fight.
Mm-hmm. But moving on to the co-main event of the evening, which was the fastest finish in the main event or the main card. Gegard Mousasi versus Renato Babalu Sobral. And wow, Gegard he's scary. He doesn't look scary. He has a little humpback. He's calm. He's always calm. He's getting punched in the face. He has no emotion. He just shows no emotion. And he came out and Babalu rushed him, got into the clinch, and Gegard ended up taking him on the ground, catching him a couple times and ground and pounding, and then straight up flattened Babalu, just flattened him out cold.
That was a crazy knockout.
Yeah. So what did you, of the whole 1 minute exact of the first round, what did you think of that whole performance?
That whole performance, it was just real quick. Like the power that Mousasi had, he controlled him, took him to the ground real quick. Like he already knew what he wanted to do. Took him to the ground. Well, first, wasn't it what's his name? Sobral?
Yeah.
Sobral, yeah. He was the one that took down Mousasi, but Mousasi took control of that on the ground. And after that, just all day ground and pound him, stood up on top of him and just flattened him out straight up. That was like, oof.
Yeah. It was one of the most shocking knockouts that I've seen, because it came out of nowhere. He was just ground and pound, flat.
Yeah,
out cold, and he kept going. And the ref's like, "I had enough. I seen enough." John McCarthy's like, "Nope, you're done." He's the greatest referee in the MMA that I know, and he ended up stopping the fight. And Mousasi went off and won 2 fights after this, one in Strikeforce, one in K1, and then he ended up losing to Muhammad Lawal in Strikeforce, and then went on draw to Keith Jardine, and then kept going on and ended up his last loss was actually against Jacare Souza. By submission. So Mousasi's always up there. He's always that force, and I don't know. I like him. He's quiet. He's calm. He reminds me of like a Fedor back in the day when he was just walking the cage, does not care, no emotion, and just goes to work.
Yeah. I, in this fight, he was really he was ready to go, pretty much. Yeah, he was ready. Yeah, to go.
And then Babalu went on, ended up beating Robbie Lawler, which blew my mind in a decision. Ended up losing to Dan Henderson, then getting another win, then off straight 2 losses. And I believe he actually retired after his last fight against Jacob Noel. And now he's in Metamoris, and he actually just grappled Chael Sonnen. So it's Babalu. He was that pioneer of the division. He was that pioneer back in the day. He just got washed up after this and just ended up ending his career on a good career. I like Babalu. He was that good fighter. He was one of the first fighters that I actually got to watch in the UFC when I first gotten into it. I liked him, but then I actually got caught off on the end of his career, which sucks. But I watch all his old fights. He's a good fighter. So Mousasi, he's in the UFC, still doing work, like I said, and just putting in work.
Yeah. I haven't, like I said, I'm still like fairly new to MMA and all, but as far as I know, he like I said, I only seen him fought maybe once or twice, and he looked good. So he's not a bad fighter at all, in my opinion. So
yeah. So moving on to the main event now. If you don't know, it's Gina Carano versus Cyborg. Gina Carano was the face of women's MMA back in the day, got me introduced to women's MMA. She was in Gladiator Warrior, what was it? American Gladiator. She was in that show. She's a scary, scary chick, but she's super hot too. It's crazy. Like she gets punched in the face for a living, and she still is a model after that. Chris Cyborg, we all know she's that monster that wants to fight Ronda Rousey, who ended up testing positive for steroids, but is still testing clean now and wrecking everybody. She's just wrecking everybody. She's the Invicta champion, and it's bad. But this was the first ever women's championship in a pro MMA thing. This was the first championship in Strikeforce. First time the women headline a pay-per-view, I believe it was. Gina Carano. She's scary.
Yeah.
What did you think about the whole fight?
Dude, I love that fight. That was a great fight because they just gave no fucks. They just straight up went at each other. They just kept going and going. It never stopped. And that's what I loved it. I kept wanting to see more and more. I was like, oh, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Because you saw Carano's power. She had fucking crazy power. Cyborg felt those hits.
Yeah.
And Cyborg answered back too. So, but overall, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. I kept wanting to watch more of it. That's what I like about girls MMA fights right there.
They don't
care. They keep going. They don't care. They get caught. They don't care. They keep going back at it because they want to catch them. So. Yeah.
And Gina Carano, like this, in my opinion, this was the first time we get to see Chris Cyborg backing up. She got caught. She got rocked. She got backed up. Then Gina started capitalizing. Then Cyborg would take her down, but Gina would flip her and get the dominant position, get mount. Now, my only opinion was Gina Carano had a full mount on Chris Cyborg. She had full mount and ended up standing up. You don't do that to Chris Cyborg. You don't let her get up and start punching you in the face again. That's how you get murdered, Gina. You don't do that. You stay on the ground, and you had a perfect position to end up getting that Strikeforce championship and being 8-0 in your record or in your career. And no, she got up and started.
Yeah, and I was surprised at that too. She had her. She had her right. She had her in the midst of her right there. She just had to keep going, but she let up. Like I was surprised at that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was an ego thing for Gina or what, but you had it and you let it go. But this is why I still have a grudge against Josh Rosenthal. Ended the fight 4 minutes, 59 seconds of the first round. Gina was taking punishment. She was taking a beating. Don't get me wrong. But she was moving. In my opinion, she was moving. She was trying to get something, and then Josh broke it up right at the bell. And I was like, okay, cool. Next round. I'm sitting on my couch watching it, and no, the fight's over. And this is not the first. Yeah.
I was surprised also. I was like, it was right at the bell. I was like, okay, they're gonna fight. They got another round, right? Yeah, there's another round about to happen. And then they kept looking. I was like, nope. They're calling it. Cyborg wins it at 4 minutes 59. I was like, really? I thought it was a save by the bell kind of thing. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, come on. I think if they went to the next round, that Carano kept calm down during that little break, she would have came back out right at and same thing, aggressive. Yeah. And Cyborg, she kept backing off because she felt that power, dude. Yeah.
And like you said right there, I think it should have went to a second round. It's not the first time that Chris Cyborg has celebrated early. In her fight before that, I believe she celebrated early. She's like, yeah, I won. No, I didn't. Oh, continue fighting? Cool. And like the ref was all confused, but celebrated early. Ended up getting the win still, but did celebrate early. Gina Carano, I think she should have got that extra chance, should have got that second round. Maybe she would have won, maybe should have lost. But I would love to see that second round because of how the fight was going. It would have been even better in the second round, in my opinion. Yeah, Cyborg was gassed, Gina was gassed, but they go for it. It was for the first championship, and they were going to go for it.
Yeah, I was surprised at that, how they called it. I was really surprised. I didn't I was hoping for more to happen, but
yeah. But broke my heart. Still have a little grudge against Josh Rosenthal for ending that fight super early. But what really broke my heart, Gina Carano ended up retiring after this fight, retiring at 7-1. And going on for an acting career in a movie, Haywire. She was in some other movies. Yeah, Haywire was not the greatest movie. Gina, get back in the cage. I want to see you fight. Haywire, she was in Fast and Furious with The Rock, and then she ended up, spoiler, doing some stuff. But yeah, no, she's a great actress in my opinion, except Haywire, that was different. But she was hinted to come back and fight Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey was accepting to do it. She's like, I won't fight Chris Cyborg. I will fight Gina Carano. She's a person I watched when I was coming up in my career. She was the original face of the women's MMA. Now I'm the face. I would love to see that fight, but I think it was just a stunt to get Fast and Furious numbers, but we can't.
Yeah, because she did that around when the movie she was in that movie, right? During that time of the movie.
Yeah, she came out during the time of the movie saying, yeah, I'll fight her. Yeah, I'm in talks with the UFC. I met with Dana White, and I would love to see it, but it didn't happen. But and then, so that hurt. That hurt my feelings. That hurt me a lot. I really like Gina Carano. I still like her to this day. But then we have Cyborg, who's been undefeated ever since, except for the no contest when she's ended up testing positive for PEDs. Her first loss and ever only loss was in her debut in pro MMA. Then she just went off and is undefeated ever since, except for that no contest. Now she just came off a loss against Charmaine Tweeten, who she dominated in 46 seconds, and is still the Invicta champion. There are rumors. Well, it's not a rumor anymore. It is true. She is fighting under the UFC Zuffa banner, but she's not in the UFC. Maybe we'll see a weight class with her coming in from Invicta or what, but she is getting paid from the Zuffa and UFC. Her next fight is unknown. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be on July 10th in Invicta FC 13, but right now it's an unknown fighter.
Yeah.
But she's scary. She's scary.
She is, dude. Holy shit. She's scary as fuck.
Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, she's going to fight Ronda Rousey, but she can't cut the weight. She's 145 pounds. She can't cut down 135 pounds. Tito Ortiz was her manager at one point saying she could do it. And their doctor said, no, it's very unhealthy and you could possibly die if you lose that much weight. And she's still trying it. Mike, do you ever, I've said my opinion on it, but do you ever think we will ever see Chris Cyborg versus Ronda Rousey in the UFC?
Not in my opinion, not because yeah, that weight thing, there's no fucking way that she's gonna cut down. No. That's unhealthy. Like they said, it's unhealthy. You can die from that. You don't want to do that shit. Honestly, I don't think it'll happen. But people are going to keep trying to push it and push it and push it. Oh, it's going to happen. No. I honestly don't think it's going to happen. There's no way. There is no way.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree the same thing. Would I like it to happen? Yes, because I want to see Ronda Rousey either lose or be the greatest of all time and end up beating the second best greatest of all time. That's the debate. Who is the greatest of all time? Who's the greatest women's MMA fighter? Is it Gina Carano or Chris Cyborg?
And that's what's going to push it even more. Because they're gonna try pushing that the greatest of all time in this weight, but she's the greatest of all time in this weight. But who's better? So
now, after seeing this fight, I don't know if this is your first Cyborg fight that you ever watched, but who do you think would win in that fight? I think we went over this. No, we didn't.
We haven't. That's a hard one. I still think Rousey would get her. I still think Ronda Rousey would get her. In my opinion, like no lie, fucking Cyborg carries fuck swole as hell, built as like a mud. I was like, oh man. But honestly, the way that Ronda Rousey fights, I think she'll get her. Honestly, she'll win.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think just Ronda Rousey's too smart. If she gets caught, she probably is gonna go down because Cyborg has that power. But I think Ronda's way too smart, smart for that. She'll end up taking her down, just like we saw with her last fight and her last two fights. Like split second, done. I'm going home.
Yeah, I agree because way too smart. She doesn't fall for it. She don't fall for that stuff for nothing. So yeah.
So I have you on the show right now. This is your first show. I kind of want to ask you like some little hot topics that are going on in MMA. If you do know, so the John Jones thing, the whole situation with that. You were with me when DC won the the light heavyweight championship of the world.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people are saying that that's fake championship. That's paper champion. John Jones is the real champ. What do you think?
John Jones is the real champ, but not with that attitude and not the mature. He's immature. He's the most immature champion I've ever seen. Like, no. DC won that because John Jones can't keep it because of how he acts out of the cage. He doesn't know how to act. He needs to grow up, first of all. So honestly, DC deserves that. DC does deserve that. And what he called him out, he still wants to fight John Jones. So it's not completely out of the question. But the way things are going for John Jones, no.
Yeah.
I don't think, yeah. So I like I said, DC, he deserves it.
So this is actually breaking news. It sucks. It broke right after 5 rounds yesterday. Kind of want to talk about it real quick before they get on to get it on Keyboard Warriors on Tuesday. But they announced 2 fights. They announced Daniel Cormier versus Alexander Gustafsson for the light heavyweight championship of the world. I'm liking it. Alex is coming off a loss to get Anthony Johnson, but he deserves a title shot. It's a great fight. I don't know what's going to happen, but who do you honestly think will win? You watched the John Jones-Gustafsson fight with me. I still think Gus won that fight, but who do you think will win, DC or Gus?
Let's see. DC, I like DC a lot because he's a smart fighter. He has a lot of power, and he knows how to wrestle. Gustafsson, he's a great fighter. He's awesome. He's smart. He knows what to do in the cage. But I would still say DC. I would still say DC because I just like DC's attitude. The way when he goes into a fight, he's ready to let it all on the line, put it all on the line. Let's go. I'm ready. Gustafsson, that last fight, when I watched him walk into the octagon, I just didn't see it. I didn't see the fire he had the way he was going to fight John Jones. The fire he had against John Jones, he was ready. Like, he wanted him. But this last fight against Anthony Rumble Johnson, I didn't see it. I just didn't see that win. If he wants that, he needs to have that fire. But I think DC will probably win that fight.
Yeah.
No. And
And I don't know, man. I like Gus a lot. I think he should be champion, but I'm gonna go with DC too.
Yeah. And then when that news broke, like, fucking honestly, and when I texted you that like at 2 a.m, as a matter of fact, it was close to 2 a.m. when that came out. Gustafsson posted it on Twitter. DC versus Daniel Cormier in Las Vegas, blah blah blah. So I was like, so I texted you right when I saw that. Yeah. It broke late. It broke late last night, real late.
Yeah, and then the other fight is Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold, which I'm down to see, but Chris Weidman's gonna lose. So I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna leave it out of that.
I wonder why.
I know why. You know why. Everyone that's watching this show knows why. But that's going to be it for That's Just Happened, presented by CrossBonesMMA. I want to thank Mike for coming on.
Yes, no problem, sir. No problem.
We'll probably be here next week talking about a different event. If anyone has any questions or any topics or events you want us to cover, just hit me up on Twitter. Follow me at NickXMicro. You can follow Mike at
Big Mike 1909.
And you can follow the website at CrossBonesMMA. And that's going to be it for us today. Thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next time.
Latest.